What's up, family? It's your boy, Jaheim President with the Legacy Builders Podcast. And the crowd goes, wow, we are back. We are back. We are back. Can I tell you this? Life has been lifing lately. I'm not gonna lie to you. Life has been lifing, but it's also been teaching some valuable lessons in this season of my life, of this last quarter of the year. And I really, I'm so happy to be back. You don't know how, y'all really don't know how powerful this podcast has been in my life. And I think not being able to do it for like a month or so, my last episode was like early October. And then, stuff happened, whatever. And not being able to be in the right mental space to pour was very difficult, but very necessary. So it taught me a lot of stuff about how about the effect of your pour. And that's what we're going to talk about today in this short couple of minutes of mine, about how powerful your pour is and how necessary your pour is. But the dangerous thing, and for those who are poor, for those who are uplift people, for those who help people, the dangerous thing sometimes of being a poor, being someone who uplifts, being someone who always is there to help. I think sometimes we want to be, macho man. We want to be macho woman. We want to always say that we have the answer. And it becomes difficult sometimes when we don't have the answer, and we have to depend on really ourselves. We have to kind of practice what we preach. And so this last month or so, I really was in the season of my life where I had to practice what I preach. I had to literally, I was rewatching episodes. I was reposting episodes because they were so literal in what I was facing, what I was dealing with. And so I really want to talk about today about the poor, about your poor, about what it really takes to be someone who is influential, someone who is meant to change the world, somebody who's meant to change and have a destiny. And it's so hard because in this day and age, we are being pulled in every direction. And it's funny enough because I thought, here it is, I thought, I took the whole month of July off and I rest and recover. And I thought that was supposed to rejuvenate me and push me through the whole year. But I realized that there are pockets of rest and recovery that must happen sometimes daily, that must happen sometimes weekly, that must happen sometimes monthly. And so you have to know within yourself, can you recover? Can you do this? Can you do that? And so what I learned early on in life, and what I learned early on throughout this year, and can I tell you this, I'm proud of myself this year, because you will look at yourself sometimes throughout the year and you'll be like, bruh, did I accomplish everything that I wanted to this year? No. But did I accomplish things that were necessary and needed? Yes. And so here it is. And so now you have to tell yourself, and you have to really tell your mind that not everything is going to happen at once. We're in this digital age. We're in this, instant gratification. So you have to constantly negate, and you have to constantly go against the grain of that culture. So sometimes in life we want it so bad. And I want to be successful bad. I want this podcast to be world renowned. I want to be invited on other podcasts. I want to be invited to do this and do that. And here I was thinking, and in reality I knew, but here I was thinking that it was supposed to happen now. Like I was like, okay, bro, I did some episodes. Like somebody should have, hey, I'm doing this. But I had to realize that to the the goal is not to pour everything out. See what's powerful about rivers and the Mississippi River and Nile River and all that stuff is that there's a constant flow. And many of us, we want to pour everything out now. and effectively think that it's supposed to happen right then and there, because we poured everything at once. We started the business, we got in a new relationship, we did this, we did that, then it was supposed to happen right then. People were supposed to see our pour from a mile away, when in fact, no, the people who are at the level you want to be at, the people who are at the level that you dream and you know that you're destined for, is because they have a constant pour. They have a consistent pour. Some weeks, some days the pour as wide, but sometimes the pour is narrow. But they know how effective their pour is, and so sometimes they protect their pour. So sometimes they know that they have to pour out a lot, and sometimes they know they have to pour out a little. And so today, whenever you're listening to this, today you have to be able to know when you pour. And so this month, I realized that I knew how I know there's a pour. I know there's the pour is necessary. I know this is necessary. But then now I'm learning when and really where and really how much I need to pour. Because there's a difference. You can be out there and you can be out there pouring all day long. You can be out there pouring whatever, but then you get empty quicker. And so one of my goals of 2025 is I have to learn, and I really want to learn when and where to do my pour, what to do my pour, and how effective my pour can be, and how effective this can be, and how effective that can be. And so today, I want to encourage you, whenever you listen to this, really tap in and really know when your pour is necessary, because many of us, we're pouring too much, and we end up killing ourselves in the process. And I don't care. Family, friends, church members, whatever, co-workers, they're they're not as important as you are. And I really wish we would encourage that. You have to know, and you have to be willing enough, and you have to be strong mentally enough to know when you're poor. It's not, and when are you pouring into, when are you, and if you are pouring into spaces that no longer need your pour. Because here it is, and I was listening, I was at the Ron Clark Academy this week. Oh my God, it put so much faith in action. And Michael Barner, one of the teachers there, he said, you have to kill your pride. And I was like, oh my God. Like it was like, he was speaking, I was like a couple feet away. And it was like, dang. Because I had to really kill my pride, because and you can get so bogged up into, oh God, I'm so and so, I've done so and so, I've done so and so, I've done so and so, I met so and this and all that, and then you become so prideful that you really don't know how really non-effective you are anymore, or how you may not be effective in that space any longer, or you may still be effective, but all they see is the accolades, and they're not really seeing what you're really pouring. And so I it was so profound, and it was so, oh my God, I had a great week of faith, a great week of seeing manifestation, and seeing how long it will take, how long sometimes manifestation, sometimes how long the promise, sometimes how long the destiny that you were promised is going to take. But in the end, you can be working on your pour. You could be working on building up enough stamina, building up enough courage, building up enough confidence. How many of us lack confidence to step out and take a risk? I know I did. I held in this idea of Legacy Builders podcast. I held this idea of legacy impact enterprise. I held this idea of me just being just being giving advice, because I was scared of people kind of seeing my light, and I was scared of people condemning me for my light. And how many of us are not pouring at all is because we are scared to stand out, because we're scared of the scrutiny that comes with standing out. How many of us are scared to even pour? How many of us are scared to even interact? How many of us are scared? How many of us know? And I was at this conference. I mean, I've just been in some powerful conferences 2 weekends in a row. I'm trying to do something. But and they said that you are the solution. How many of you know that you're the solution? But here it is. Here it is. Don't let being the solution kill you, and then you're the solution, but then you're poor, and then they move on. And so there it is. There is nobody. Everybody talks about, yes, do it, do it, do it, do it. Everybody talks about, oh yeah, but there is sometimes a balance that needs to be created. That and what I'm saying balance is, we're not talking about what 50-50. Sometimes it may be 60-40, sometimes it may be 80-20, but there has to be some type of balance between your pour and being poured back into, being restful, being intentional about where you pour, being intentional about who you pour on, be intentional about what you're pouring. And so not everybody, and I think we're looking for this cookie cutter, everybody one size fit all. And here it is. And we talked about it. I talked about it a year ago about the blueprint. Not everyone blueprint is going to look the same. Not everyone life is going to look the same. And so not everybody, here it is. I started comparing myself to other people's podcasts, and I was like, oh my God, they're doing this. And what I really should have been saying is, I like their ideas and concept, but I can't be exactly like them because I wasn't born to be exactly like them. Because if there's two people, there's no need, you know? And so here it is. You have to find out. First, you have to find out, what is your pour? What are you destined to do? What is it about you that the world, that your community, that your family, whatever, you got to find that out first. Because many of us, we're trying to copy other people pour, we're trying to copy other people idea, we're trying to be a second this, a second that. When the world doesn't need that. And so where it is, first step, find what your pour is. Find out what your pour is. Find out what is unique about you, what makes you you, what da 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 da. And then the second thing, you have to find people that you're willing to learn and glean from, and also not be intimidated by the gifts. Can I tell you this? There's so many creatives. There's so many people in the world who is intimidated by people being more successful than them. They're intimidated by people having a greater capacity to pour. They're intimidated by people who have a greater audience to pour. And can I tell you this? I am intimidated. I want to learn. Because I may not be for the arena, but I may be for Greenville. I may be for the school I work at, and so I'm not so intimidated by the greatest podcaster or whatever, or people who are my age who are doing podcasts. I'm not intimidated. I want to learn systems. What systems do you have in place that I may need to tweak and add to my systems? See, here's the thing. That is what the spirit of collaboration is truly about. Collaboration isn't about, oh, let me go learn from them and then talk about them, and then try to destroy them while I live. And one of my one of the people in my denomination, they always say, live while you climb. And if many of us could do that, and it's not their job, here it is, it's not their job, whoever you're learning from, gleaning from, it's not their job always to put you on. It's not their job to say, oh, no. It's your job to learn, strategize, and then implement your pour. Learn that. Learn, strategize, and then now implement your pour. So that means you have to find out. Look, I listen, and you have to have an honest conversation with yourself and say, hey, what is it that's really stopping me? For me, I have a procrastinating spirit. I really do. I'm not gonna lie to you. And so sometimes it wasn't the fact that I didn't have nothing to say on this podcast. It was the fact that I'm waiting to Saturday when I'm not tired for the week instead of putting up systems and putting up places. And so now when I want to do it, I'm tired. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I do this. Oh, I'll record that tomorrow. No. And so what I had to learn in these couple of weeks of me taking a break is, how do I kill that procrastination? How do I kill that? How do I kill this? How do you know what I mean? And so you have to be able and you have to be willing enough. So learn, strategize, and then you have to figure out what's really stopping you. And then you have to do it boldly. You have to do it with some tenacity. You have to do it. Sometimes you have to do it scared. Listen, y'all don't know. This summer, I worked at summer school. Y'all don't know how much I paid for these lights, how much I paid for this and that, and how frustrated I was. See, here it is. How frustrated. This was the camera I was using to record the podcast. How frustrated I was when this camera stopped working, the connection, whatever, stopped working. And so I couldn't connect. And so I told my friends, I was like, and I was frustrated, and I started thinking more negative than positive. I was like, well, Jaheim, do it. I always didn't have. Shout out to one of my best friends, Nicole. She said, Jaheim, you always didn't have a camera. And so I was thinking like, oh, I ain't want to do it because so-and-so a podcast looks so clear, and I ain't going to record off of no phone, that is making excuses for me not pouring. And so I went down the spiral, and I just stopped producing because I was so prideful enough. I was so prideful that I couldn't just, as long as I'm producing and make sure whatever I have is at a greater weight. And so that's what we're talking about. Pour. The pour. What are you doing to protect your pour, and how are you pouring in the season? Because can I tell you this? 2025 is going to be a crucial year. I'm already planning out my 2025. I'm doing again, and I'm going to talk about, and that'll be the next episode, recap of 2024. Because this year I broke my years up in the years in the quarter. So the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. Now we're in the fourth quarter, of course, the end quarter. And so, but there's still stuff I can do in the fourth quarter and stuff like that. But that'll be the next episode. But I really, this is a part of movement. We're still in the season of movement, and sometimes movement is understanding when you may need to take a break and reevaluate yourself, take a break and re-exist yourself, take a break and know yourself, so that when you come back really not just out of routine. I never want this podcast to be where I'm doing it out of routine just to do it, but I want to be a podcast where I'm impacting lives, where I'm impacting people who are listening, and I'm also impacting people who may listen later down in life. So, that's it. So, family, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be back. I really am. And know that something is greater. You're the solution for something. You're the solution for some job. You're the solution for some relationship, some family, some whatever. But you have to know when and where to pour, and you have to know where and how to pour. And then you have to also be confident in yourself that there's something inside of you that's greater and bigger than you can imagine. So, yep. All right. So, family, that's all I have for you today. Also, if you want a partnership with us and partner with us at Legacy Builders Podcast, and if you got some hoodies, some sweatshirts, whatever that you wear, that you're a small business owner and you're this and that, and you want to connect with somebody, here I am. Connect with us at Legacy Builders Podcast. Also follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram at Legacy Builders Pod. Also follow me on Coffee Prayers. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us at Jaheim President TV. As we continue to go higher, continue to impact, as we continue to grow to new heights. It's your boy, Preacher. It's your uncle. It's your podcast host, Jaheim President, and this has been the episode of Legacy Builders Podcast. See y'all next week.